Hey, my name is Brooke and welcome back to my channel. This light is good for photos, but not so much for videos. But welcome back to my channel. This is a channel where I talk about houseplants and do DIYs on my shorts. So if you have not yet, take a minute, subscribe so you can be up to date on all my latest videos. If you're a recurring viewer, thank you so much for coming back and watching another video. Today, we're going to be doing a video, I don't know, maybe like an update on my Monstera Deliciosa, which is right behind me. So I've had this plant for several years now, and it's done really well. Like, it has grown a lot. It is just one single vine. I actually got it from the Lowe's clearance section for $5. I don't know, it was not like, there was nothing wrong with it. There was no bug issue, no pests, no yellowing leaves. Like, it was a perfect plant. The only thing that wasn't perfect was the fact that the pot had been like cut open, and so the plant was spilling out. So I don't know if they thought that meant the plant was bad or something, but anyways, it made it to the clearance section for $5. I was really excited because at the time, like, Monstera Deliciosas, number one, were pretty expensive, and number two, they weren't that large. Hold on, this light is just too much. Didn't really help. Okay. And number two, they really weren't that large. So when I had gotten it, it was kind of like, you know, the Monstera High, I feel like, the Deliciosa specifically. And so it was a really sought after plant. Everybody loved them because they are beautiful plants. And so the little pots of them, like, I'm talking, you know, probably 8-inch pots, were about $30. And so to get one, this was in a gallon, it was about $60, I believe. And so it was marked down to $5. I couldn't believe it. So I actually saw it, and there was a girl standing next to me, and she's like, if you don't get that, I'm going to get it. And I was like, no, I'm going to get it. And so I got it and brought it home, and it did really well. I set it in my east facing window, and like pretty much like exactly this setup where it was in the corner. My east facing window probably was closer to it, but it grew really well. And so it has grown to what it is today. Now, it has lost a few leaves in the move. So we did move like 2 years ago now. And so it went through a period of it, you know, readjusting and getting used to this house and all of that stuff, because plants do suffer sometimes when you move them. And so it did. I lost about 3 leaves on it, but it has finally started to just like stabilize itself, I guess. This top leaf is the newest leaf, and it has aerial roots like crazy. Like, it's pushing out the aerial roots, but it's not really pushing out any new foliage. I do water it and fertilize it. I fertilize it with every single watering. Now, it is in a large terracotta pot, which I'll show, but I only water this guy like once a month because it is, again, in a larger pot, and so it doesn't need to be watered every week. I don't think this is getting enough light. Matter of fact, I know it's not getting enough light. I just kind of stuck it there since we moved in. It's been there for 2 years, and again, it did lose 3 leaves, but that was, I think, because of shock and all of that good stuff. But since then, again, just pushed out the 1 leaf, and it hasn't really done much. It's grown its aerial roots and is doing well on that front, but nothing else really. I didn't really mind because it does sit in the corner of our couch. There is only so much space that I have. I have a very large Thai constellation in my office, and so space is limited. And so I just liked that it grew 1 vine and up, and that was totally okay with me. But my, plant, self went out and bought this Mayo-eye. So this is a philodendron Mayo-eye that I have right here, and I purchased this from the Tipsy Gardener at Canton and First Monday, Canton. And it's a beautiful plant. And I decided that, you know what, I'm going to move my Monstera out of here. I'm going to chop it back. I'm going to put it in a southwest facing window, like actually in a southwest facing window in our bedroom where my Thai constellation used to be, and then put this Mayo-eye up there, because I don't mind that this Mayo-eye, if this Mayo-eye doesn't like grow more, it is a very large plant. And so I like to have green in this corner, and that's enough green for me. That way I can move, again, my Deliciosa out of here, put it in a southwest facing window, give it the light that it needs, and maybe it will start developing more. And then I will create a more full plant, because again, this is just one vine, you can see. And my husband, he's always like, just chop it, make it more full. He really wants a full Monstera. So I'm going to give him the full Monstera that he wants. So that's what we're doing today. We're going to do a switcheroo, put this guy there, chop him, and put him in my bedroom and see what happens. Again, this Monstera has grown aerial roots, which means I don't need to propagate it. I'm just going to plant it back in the soil and water as usual. Because again, aerial roots are roots, they're secondary, they're roots, and then they will grow secondary roots once I put it in soil and just water it appropriately. So let's go see if we can do all of that. So here is the Monstera up close. And now this is the newest leaf. This leaf unfurled probably a couple months ago, at the beginning of spring. And that was the only one. It does have a new growth point somewhere down there, but nothing more has come from it. So you can see here, this is a southwest facing window, but it's, it's coming this direction, and that's very, very indirect low light, to be fairly honest with you. So it has been sitting back here in this corner and hanging on pretty much. But you can see that all of these aerial roots down here have grown into the pot, which I just put them back into the pot. Some of them. And then this one right here, he's starting to grow secondary roots. And then all the way back there, roots are growing as well into the pot. So he has some nice, good aerial roots that I wouldn't be afraid to just chop it and put it back into the pot. And so this is a very large pot. I couldn't even tell you what size this is. It's over a gallon, I know that's for sure, but I think it will be fine size for this plant, seeming it is only one, again, stem or one vine. So we're going to take it down. This is like the lowest portion. It has aerial roots, 2 aerial roots, and obviously like the official root system attached here. This is the leaf that is attached to that. So this leaf got really messed up in shipping. Well, shipping, I mean transporting it from Washington to Texas. So it looks a little haggard. And honestly, that's why I lost like 2 other leaves, or 3. I said 3. Yeah, 3, is because they were really badly damaged. I put these in large clothing boxes like that you move with. And it held really well. Like all of my plants, I had my ficus, I had my Monstera, I had a large philodendron pole. Like it did really well. But some of them just did get damaged. So that was one of them. But otherwise, like these leaves look really good. And I don't even know if you could see like these leaves, but they're shoved against the wall here. So it's a very pretty, like full plant up top, which this is very beautiful to me. It's just bare down here. And so that's kind of why I stuck it in the corner. I'm just going to go for it. I'm just going to do it. So I'm going to keep this leaf here on and in the pot, and then I am going to chop like right above it. You can see this guy, it's super dusty too. I'm going to do it. I'm terrified. I'm very nervous right now because I love how this guy is growing, but for the sake of growing it to be larger and more full, I'm going to do it. Maybe, possibly. Oh my gosh, it's so hard. Okay, whoa. So that is chopped, but the aerial roots are in it. So I'm going to have to chop it up even more until I can take it out. Extremely hard to cut. So let's see here. These are really, again, rooted in well. So I'm not going to touch that. I'm just going to continue cutting. It's still rooted in. So I've already cut off. I've cut 3 times. So this is one and it's rooted. This is one and it's rooted twice. This is the original and it's rooted in. And then I'm going to cut again. Okay, so finally we get to the top cut, and this is not rooted in. So it has an aerial root, but all of these are rooted in. So I'm just going to plant them back in the pot. Same for this guy. But I think I'm going to plant it entirely. I might sacrifice this beautiful, perfect leaf But I don't know if I'm in the camera. If I just plant this back in, because this one has the aerial root, this doesn't, I would have to propagate this and put it in water or sphagnum moss. But I think I might just stick it in back in like this and take this leaf off. Again, sacrifice him so that I can just plant it directly and not have to worry about propagating, because I really don't want to propagate. I really don't want to propagate this. It's just not, it's just big. And so I don't find it necessary. If it already has aerial roots, I might just get rid of one leaf and call it a day. So I'll show you what it looks like now. You can see here, this is one, and it's, again, it's rooted in there really well. This is another one, and it's rooted in. It's over here. It's over here. This one is rooted in. Ooh, sorry. This one is rooted in. So these are all well rooted. This guy, again, was starting to grow secondary roots. So this is the leaf right here that I might just end up cutting and just planting him back in, so that, again, I don't have to worry about propagating anything. Okay, so you can see here, this is the terracotta pot. It's very beautiful. I got this from Lowe's, again, a couple of years ago when I got the plant. But it is really heavy, super heavy. So I'm going to leave it in this mix. This is not a normal mix that I've personally used or have been using recently. Again, it's been potted in this for a bit. So I kind of want to take it out and see what root system, or what the root system looks like. I can feel that it is stuck down to the very bottom. So I'm going to try to work these out. So that's that one. This is this one. Wow, one cutting right there. Yeah, soil all over me and in my face, my mouth. Okay, I can feel this guy. Oh, okay. This is this root system. It's going to be fun to get out. Oh my gosh. It is really well rooted. I'm trying not to break them, but also this has charcoal in it. I've stopped using charcoal in soil because, number one, I don't like to deal with fungus gnats for soil, but number two, I don't like charcoal and how powdery it is, or how, blah, whatever you want to call it. This is the root ball, and this one's stuck to it. And I just made a big mess, and I just cleaned this patio. So this soil is pretty soil. It's just soil. It's very little. It's got perlite, charcoal, pretty much soil. So I think that that's okay, because these aren't, all of them are not rooted like secondary roots. So I'll just leave that. I am going to cut this leaf off. I think it's absolutely beautiful and like a perfect Monstera leaf. But in order to plant this back into the pot, this would have to be under the soil, and that's just not going to work. So I need it to go away, and I'm sorry. But that way it can be in there. This root ball, this is the original plant. It isn't as large as the pot, so it's not taking up the pot. Oh my gosh, it's not taking over the pot, and so there is no reason to go any larger than this until these roots start really developing and growing. So I am going to attempt to take the soil out. What am I going to do? I have no idea. Didn't really think of that. It's going to be repotted. We're going to just set it over there. I'm doing it. I'm dumping it. It's being dumped now. Yep, did that. Plant it back in like that. Now it will be fine. I'll situate them around a little bit. There you go. Much better. And then I'll use my pot scoop. This is not the way to do this. I never do the way you should do, or I never do things the way you should do it. Ask my husband. It's just, I just do it. It is potted back in, and it looks great. There it is all repotted up. So I'm going to move it back inside and give it a good water.
Okay, so here we are moving it inside. Now, if you have large plants, I would really consider buying a plant dolly or like just a dolly in general that you can move around. So I got these trays for like $3 and they have become very useful. So I rolled it all the way to our bedroom, which has a southwest facing window. Monstera Deliciosas are extremely hardy plants, and so I have no doubts that this guy will do just fine. I actually hope that he does even better than fine and starts really growing and pushing out new foliage and becomes a more full plant. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you next time.